Two Queers in a Truck. And I'm Billy James Gunn, and my sidekick, Christian Cano, partner in crime, is coming up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Jim's sidekick. Welcome to Two Queers in a Truck. Hi y'all.
See you soon. Good morning, everybody. It is Two Queers in a Truck time, and it is December 24th.
Wow.
Christmas Eve. Bah humbug. And anyway, we are jumping right into it because we have a special edition. Not only is it Christmas Eve, holiday season, and we've gotten past Festivus, which is one of my favorite holidays. We have a special guest, a new original guest. It is somebody that we've not had on the show before, like our regular guests, like Dr. B and those type of things. But Del Shores, he is based out of, I believe, Palm Springs, California, which is just up the road from where I'm at, sitting presently in West Hollywood, California, so in the neighborhood itself. And he is a very, very accomplished writer, playwright. He's been involved with TV, movies. To go down his resume would probably take the whole 20 minutes that we're going to speak with this man. And but if you want to Google him or go on Wikipedia and look at his IMDb, you are going to be blown away. This guy has done it all, and it has was part of Dharma and Greg. Mm-hmm. I think Queer as Folk, I believe. Yes. And then Sordid.
And he's a Texan. And he's a native Texan. I don't know if he claims that now, but
I claim it. I just it's a good place to have fled from.
Yeah, we're all refugees. Is basically what we are. I mean,
the truth.
So Del has had an incredible career, and we are very honored to have him on the Two Queer show, and then also our sister show, Coffee and Pan Dulce, which he's going to span over 2 episodes for the 24th and the 31st, and we're going to go in depth on some of the current projects.
We're going to milk this time with him. So
we got a certain amount of time with him, and we're going to milk it because we otherwise it's just Christian and I talking to each other, which is really boring at times. But we are super excited, and the first thing I wanted to jump into is, we all come from about the same place. Christian grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. I grew up in South Texas and did some time in Lubbock, Texas. Not willingly, but my parents got transferred up there. And you may not be the edge of the earth, but you can see it from there.
It sounded like when you said, I did some time, not willingly. I thought, there's a mugshot involved.
Exactly. Well, I mean, turn to the left, number one, a whole lineup thing, but we won't get into that. Even though that could be funny. I mean, but anyway, I wish I could be an illegal alien like the Republicans said and gotten some free health care. But woo, and then you were born in Winters, Texas, but
yes.
but I think your dad was he a Baptist minister from under?
Yes. When early childhood in Winters, Texas. And we lived in Winters proper. That's so funny. Winters proper is about still 2,500 people. And we moved outside of Winters on a farm. And so I grew up my first 5 years on a farm outside of Winters. And one day, as happens in West Texas, the Lord called my dad to preach. And he said he knelt down by the tractor and accepted. And then suddenly, much to the chagrin of my mother and her family, because that was my grandfather's farm that we were we were on and working. And we moved to Brownwood, Texas. My parents went to Howard Payne University for 4 years. And there's a great story about why my mother went to college. She was at and I always say there's a random woman who changed the course of my life when I was 6 years old, because I was about to go into first grade. My mother was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and she was at this ministerial mixer with my dad, and this woman comes over and she said, "Lorraine, what are you going to be majoring in?" And my mother said, "I'm not going to be majoring in anything. I'm just going to be a homemaker and take care of my boys and support my husband." And and if you knew my mother, who was Latrell in Sordid Lives, this doesn't even sound like her. And this woman said, "Well, Lorraine, it's not a sin to be ignorant, but it is a sin to stay that way."
Oof.
I know. Isn't that a powerful statement?
Yeah.
And the next day, my mother enrolled in college, and the only elective available was appreciation to drama. And she fell in love with the theater and introduced it to my brother and myself. It was our babysitter for 4 years, because we would go to the theater and watch rehearsals. And it, like I said, this woman changed my life, because that's where I started loving theater.
Well, that literally was what I was going to segue into, because I know where Winters, Texas is. I've passed by it. I haven't spent any time in there, because if you blink, you'll miss it.
That's right.
And I know where you lived later on in life, and Zapata. No, there's not much there either. Growing up in San Antonio and that sort of thing. But I was wondering how you made the leap from being a preacher's kid and living a very specific Texas life, because I know that life too, and making the leap to being a Beverly Hills Hollywood queer. Like that's a hell of a pathway. Like I mean, like
were you a Beverly Hills Hollywood queer?
I was never a Beverly Hills queer, but I was a West Hollywood and a Sherman Oaks, and then a Hollywood Hills queer.
I clutched my pearls there for a second.
Right.
Well, I mean, hey y'all, this is Jenny with Two Queers in the Truck, and Christian's along with me. And we're just having fun, and we're looking forward to the 2025 season, and super excited. We have some neat things going on in our whole family of shows, including Coffee and Pan Dulce, and many new shows that are brewing. Get it, and we are excited for 2025 and all the chicanery and other things that comes with it. So happy New Year, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Bye, boo.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, that's a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
Your mom getting involved with theater, inspiring that leap is what, I guess, is that what precipitated you moving to California? I mean, normally it's kind of Baylor to Hollywood gateway, I wouldn't think.
No, exactly. But for me, there was, and I'm going to do I'm going to try to do the abbreviated version of it. So. Sure. I was very encouraged by my mother's was the high school drama teacher. She really encouraged me not to go into drama, because she knew that my passion was not about teaching like hers. It was more about performing. So when I went to Baylor, I majored in journalism and Spanish. And that's what my degrees are in. At my senior year, my friend Beth Blackstock, whose birthday was a couple of days ago, we're still good friends. She was going to Pepperdine, in the grad school in Pepperdine, and I in broadcast journalism, and I went to stay with she and my friend Roxanne Nimmer for Thanksgiving, and it was on the beach of Malibu. And so they had a beach house there. You know, Baylor kids, besides me, had money. And I remember Joyce DeWitt was on one side and Robert Redford was on the other. And that week I thought, I'm going to change my plans, and I am going to come out here and for a year try to be an actor, because that's where what I really want to do. And my mother and my dad were horrified, although there was sort of tentative support from my mom, gave me some money to move out, and I moved out. I immersed myself in acting classes, worked any kind of job, a lot of telephone sales jobs to survive, and started getting bit parts and acting while I was doing a stint on Days of Our Lives as a bartender. I had a scene one day besides "Here's Your Drink, Calliope," and they cut it by lunch. And I thought, I need to have a real role besides these. I was doing commercials. I was doing things that weren't feeding my soul. And I wrote a play called Cheatin' in 1984 so I could star in it selfishly. And that changed the course of my life. Because the next, yeah.
And so literally, I mean, a lot of people in entertainment. My wife is a writer, and she's done entertaining and stuff like that. She's a musician, and she's an actor, and things of that nature. And it's actually really not the reason why we came out of West Hollywood. We just wanted to get the hell out of Charlotte because things going on, and she's a Latina on top of that. So there's a lot of challenges with that back east, especially, and but you kind of have to almost create your own niche almost when you're starting out in entertainment. It seems like, or carve it out, and it sounds like that's what you did. I mean that is that you created your own universe, and I guess, did that get you noticed? I mean, how? You came out here, you hung out in Malibu, you said, well, how can you say no to this? I mean, Baylor and Waco versus Malibu. I mean, for people that haven't been to the California coast, and especially Malibu, I mean, they were kind of recovering from the disaster from a year ago.
Right.
It's still gorgeous. It's my wife and I walk around West Hollywood all the time, and it's like room temperature. It's perfect temperature almost year round here. And it kind of spoils you, but it also makes you forget what weather's like in other places. And I can see why you made the leap, but what got you into show business after you created that play? What jump started, or what did it get you noticed? Did it get you some traction in writing? Or because it looks like you went on a very writing, producing track after that.
Yeah, I always say there was a time in my life I was so determined to be an actor, and I did a lot of work, especially voiceover work. I did what is called ADR, like replacement in movies. I still get I got a residual yesterday for 22 cents. Something I did years ago. And what happened was while I was on stage with Cheatin', I had a wonderful director, Sherry Landrum, and my grandfather, my pawpaw from Winters, Texas, was having these progressive strokes, and my family was feuding over the will, over his health care. And I would come in and tell, you can't believe what they did today. My Aunt Rita says that my mother is trying to mercy kill my pawpaw. And now my Aunt Sissy told my mother, and my mother has hired the only lawyer in town who's 108. And she's going to sue her for slander. And everybody would just howl at these stories. And, is this your family? And my director, these powerful words, that's your next play. Yeah. And that play became Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will, which became that movie.
Oh, wow.
And that changed the course of my life. I remember, I always say, you can sort of point to the day that it all changed. And it was when the LA Times came out with a review by a man named Ray Loyne, and he said there is a new voice in theater. And it was just this rave on a Wednesday, and it was supposed to be on a Friday. And we knew when we opened the LA calendar, I don't know if you remember the calendar section, the front page, and you opened it up, and on the inside cover was a article. And that little theater, 64 seats, just went. It just sold out forever. That play ran for 2 years. thanks to Gary David Goldberg, who came and saw it and hired me to do an episode of Family Ties. And when I turned in my Family Ties script, we went on strike that day. Literally the day it was that 1987, I think, strike. Yeah. And so the news asked the Writers Guild, "Who's your newest member?" And I always say sometimes your curses become your blessings. And Steve Kometko interviewed me marching with the writers from Family Ties. And then they cut to me on the set of Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will, talking about how my oasis during the strike was back in the theater. And all of Hollywood came to see the play during, I had a manager at the time that got them all there. And very quickly, I got a deal at Warner Brothers, developing television. Same year, I got a deal for the movie with MGM and propaganda. And at 28 years old, I thought, oh, this is the way my life's going to be from now on. Of course, now you have peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. So you pay your dues at some point. But that's how accelerated it was for me. And so I didn't have a choice but to abandon the acting. Sure. And for a long time, that was a real struggle with my psyche. You know, I was like, my actor self was jealous of my writer self. And but I always feel like that my writing is informed by my acting, and that I love actors. And then I started directing when I wrote Sordid Lives, and it just it's fed my soul. And then I did return to acting some. So stand up and doing a lot of performances. So I've had a good ride. And I'm old. That's why you have so much in that Wikipedia. I just turned 68.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm never going to.
He's a boomer.
But I was like, we're in the same ballpark. We're not. You're a few years older than me, but not much. Not as much as you might think.
Hey, Gersemi, I have a question for Mr. Short, Dale. Do you mind if I call you Dale? I apologize.
I'd rather you call me Dale.
Okay.
I mean, at 68 years old, you don't want to be reminded. Reverend Shores, please.
So Gersemi and I talk about this all the time. You know, I live in outside of Charlotte now. I lived in Charlotte for 12 years. Gersemi now lives in West Hollywood, and I consider myself to be a native Texan. Gersemi, we joke all the time because she says I was born in Texas. She has a lot of angst against the state of Texas right now because of the political environment and so forth. Do you think a Dale Shores today in Winters, Texas, or in Texas could have flourished with the political environment in Texas and things like that the way you flourished when you grew up in Texas?
I actually do. I think that what we do is I like to call it alternative programming. And if you think about what's going on in Texas, think about all the support that we all the counter programming that we have. It fuels our muse. It fuels, we write what we know. And we tell the stories that we know. So there's going to be a lot of stories. I was, yesterday I was watching this woman on Instagram who, I think she was actually from Virginia or somewhere, and she was MAGA. And then suddenly she had a dead fetus in her, and she almost died because she could not get health care because she voted for those who prevented that. And it was such a revelation to her. And I thought, my mind goes on right away. And I thought, there's a play. Ooh, there's a play. There's a movie. And those are the kind of stories that we're going to find outside of our community and inside our community. And our trans community is just getting pummeled right now with the hatred that is going on. And I feel like that we, in our lives and in our work, we must make a difference. We must tell our stories so that, I read a quote and I wish I knew who said it. I feel like I'm just going to claim it because nobody seems to, I can't find it on Google, but to be understood is to be exposed.
Hey, everybody, you can catch us on your favorite audio podcast platform, Spotify, and all Apple Store, the Google machine, and whoever else does podcasts. We're on there. We broke in, and we're staying. So enjoy the Two Queers and a Truck on your favorite audio podcast platform. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye.
And the exposure that we have now because of this horrible administration, people are going to get to know us. And that's why, gay marriage support went from 8% to 64% at one time. Now, because of this administration, it's gone back down. Y'all thought y'all were political. You just got the right person today. But do you mind? Do we have time for me to tell a story that happened to me when I was teaching? Yeah, I was teaching in Louisiana, and this is how I feel that we make a difference in our conversations. And I was teaching in Louisiana, and I was staying at this lovely B&B right across from the Steel Magnolias house in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Not Nacogdoches, that's in Texas. Natchitoches, and where Steel Magnolias was set. And this lovely woman who owned it started talking to me, not knowing I was gay. I guess I hadn't walked yet. She just saw me standing there. And she was the owner of the house, and we were talking about our kids. I have two. I'm a recent grandfather. Before I came out, I had a wife, and I have two amazing daughters. And we were talking about our kids. And for some reason, she said, my son is recently playing football in Boulder, Colorado. And I said, oh, well, that must be a shock going to, from Louisiana to Colorado, weather and everything. And she said, well, he's having a really difficult time. And I said, why? And she said, well, there's just so many freaks there. And I said, define freaks. And she said, well, there's just one person that comes to class in a dress and obviously is a man. And he just doesn't even know how to deal with that. And I said, why do you think that is? And he goes, well, he just doesn't understand it. And I said, it's not up to him to understand. It's up to him to be kind. Don't you think? As a parent, isn't that the best thing we could teach? I said, has he gone up and introduced himself? And she said, well, no. And I said, well, I think that's, if you want my advice, parent to parent, maybe you could tell him, you don't have to understand it. You just have to be kind, because isn't that what, there's biblical things all over the place. And I said, isn't that what the good book says to do? It's just to be kind to people. And I said, I'm a part of the LGBT community. She goes, oh my God, I am so sorry. And I said, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. We're just talking as, new friends here. So a couple of days later, she came back and she said, I want to thank you for that advice. I talked to my son and I told him to go up and introduce himself to that person in his class. And just to be kind. That's simple. And so I think, circling back, that's how we make a difference, is we tell our story. Maybe we save it like I did till the end of the story. Sure. I'm a part of this community. But what she did is she saw me as a human first. And then she saw me as a gay man who supported the trans community and gave her some advice to give as parent to parent to her son.
Yep.
And I think that's, in our storytelling. And now put your filmmaking hat on, make that into a short film. That's a great short film.
Yeah.
That's a guaranteed short film. And on that note, we are at the end of our segment here with Two Queers in the Truck, and stories do matter, and this is why we have Del on today, and for the episode for the 24th on Two Queers, and then also on our sister show, which we're about to tape here in a few minutes. Here on the
Don't tell all the secrets.
We always tell ourselves anyway. No, everybody knows this isn't live anymore, but Del is a phenomenal storyteller, a writer. And obviously can perform, because the delivery of that story was phenomenal and very poignant. And that is why we have people on. This is why we do the show, is to hear people's stories, hear other walks of life, and define the issues of the day, which have gone on for thousands of years. On that note, we don't have thousands of years this morning, so we're going to wrap this up and move on to our next recording. Thanks so much, Del. We appreciate you being on here.
And if anybody ever wants to write me, Del at delshoresfoundation.org, or just find me on Instagram at Del Shores. I answer everything. I'm that minor of a gay celebrity. Just
You're almost like Kathy Griffin. Are you at the D list, or are you?
It's a little below Kathy. I'm like the G. I'm on the G list, the gay list.
G list.
Well, that's not a bad place to be.
Not at all.
We appreciate y'all's time, and as always, thanks for listening to us. If not, Christian and I just be talking to ourselves. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. We'll dance out.
Hi everybody, this is Yorense from the Esperacast show over here. All I'm here is doing a little quick PSA. Use this summer to do volunteer work. Go to your nearest YMCA, go to your nearest homeless shelter, go to whatever community services or programs that you can help out and volunteer. Because right now, we have a bunch of fascist pieces of shit trying to rip apart our country and rip apart the people, our communities, by spreading hate and bigotry. The best way to combat it is, one, working in your community and standing strong to show that you are strong and you're here to help out others. Two, combat misinformation. If you hear bullshit, first research and make sure if it's true or not. If it is not true, call it out. If it is true, get the facts. Be knowledgeable of it, because it might come out later. So always stand against that. And three, fuck fascists. Stand against them. Make them feel uncomfortable. There is too many people out there feeling like they can say the hard R or say slurs or be violent. Make them understand that a lot of people die to make sure this hatred and bigotry does not exist. All our civil rights workers, all the people who restored normity, everybody who fought against intolerance and hatred, they died and worked their asses off to stop this. So follow in their footsteps and stop this madness. This is Yorense again from Esperacast, and all I can say is be there for your community and stand up for what's right. Fuck fascism and have a wonderful day.